Welcome back to Maqam Lessons. This lesson is on Maqam Hijaz. I know we've already done a short lesson on Maqam Hijaz, or a simplified lesson on Maqam Hijaz with lesson 4, but in the meantime, the last few lessons have covered a few more of the ajnas that really make up the more full picture of the Maqam. So if you haven't yet watched the last few lessons on Jins Nikriz, Jins Hijaz Kar, Jins Hijaz Murasa, please go back and watch those. You'll get a lot more out of this lesson if you do that. Or you can just watch this and then go back and then come back to this. I think that the more you repeat all of these lessons and really take the time to embody all the melodic vocabulary that I'm giving you, much clearer everything will become. So you can take a few approaches. You can ignore all the words that I'm saying and simply concentrate on melody, and you will get 98% of what I'm saying, of what's important. So if you don't understand anything I'm saying, don't worry about it. If anything seems to be a little bit too analytical for you, ignore it. The only important thing is melody. Melody is the only truth in Maqam. So like I said, we're going to look at Maqam Hijaz. This is the bigger picture of Maqam Hijaz. And we learned all of these ajnas in these little boxes over the lessons that we've done already. The simpler version of Maqam Hijaz was just Hijaz with Rust and Nahawand. And as you can see, we have a lot more to it that we're going to look at today. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to concentrate on pitch memory. And I'm going to just take a little different approach today. We're going to just start with the scale degrees and the scale. So we're going to do Hijaz on this key. So I would like you to sing and count with me, and instrumentalists, put down your instruments. Please, please, please do this lesson first with your voice. Before doing with your instrument, you're going to get a lot more out of it that way. So let's sing and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I'd like you to sing with me. 1, 4, 8. Let's try that. 1, 4, 8. 8, 4, 1. 8, 4, 1. Now, why did I select 4 as our note of importance? I want you to really hold in your pitch memory. Try to remember this note is 4 and this note is 1. Let's do a little bit of just scalar practice from 1 to 4 in Jins Hijaz. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is our gammaz. 1 is our tonic. The tonic is the note that ends melodies, that melodies resolve to. So if I land on this note 2, you feel the tension wanting to go down to 3, 2, 4. These numbers are not abstractions. They're positions relative to important notes. And each number, like 2, always feels in Hijaz like this. It feels tense, like it wants to go 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, resolves up to 3, 4. So you hear 4, 1, 4, 1. Please sing with me. 4, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now 4 is important as the gammaz of Jins Hijaz. But it's also important because it is the pivot note for a lot of the action that happens. So as you can see there, I've written Rust 4, Nahawand 4, Nikriz 4. All of those ajnas start on 4. So I'm going to just show you the scale first. In Nahawand we would go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Now sing with me. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And in Nikriz, we would go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So what note changed between Nahawand and Nikriz? 7, right? 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 for Nikriz, and 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 for Nahawand. So now let's compare it to Rust. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Sing with me. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So what note changed there? 6, right? 4, 5, 6 for Nahawand or Nikriz. 4, 5, 6 for Rust. So it's the 6th that changes with Rust and the 7 that changes with Nikriz. Again, if that's a little too fast for you, don't worry about it. I find that thinking about the note names, just like using do, re, mi, it can be very helpful. But if it's not helpful to you, it's not important. What's important is the melodies. And I might repeat that 5 more times. So, as I talk, I'm talking to distract you from your pitch memory. I want you to hold your pitch memory. Can you sing to yourself the note that we called 4? Now I'm going to talk a little bit more. I want to thank my Patreon supporters. You guys are really amazing. I'm so grateful for everyone who's been seeing these lessons all the way through. And if you're not a Patreon supporter yet, but you find value in these lessons, I'd really appreciate it if you follow the link below and subscribe. For a small monthly contribution, not only will you help me continue to make these lessons available for free to everyone on YouTube, but if you're interested and what I'm giving you on YouTube isn't enough content, I'm providing additional video content in different keys for all of these maqamat on Patreon for the Patreon supporters. So, can you sing the note that we called 1? 1. And the note we called 4 again? 4. So that's what pitch memory is. You want to hold those notes in your memory. You don't have to have perfect pitch to do it. I don't have perfect pitch. But what I do have is a skill that I've cultivated, which is remembering pitch. Okay? Sing 4 for me again. 4. Sing 1 for me again. 1. Now, of course, if you're on your instrument and you try to do this, you already know what the fingering is, so you're cheating. So exercise your pitch memory with your voice. Okay, so with that in mind, 1, 4. I'm going to go through some of the ejnas and melodies within Maqam Hijaz. First, without looking at the graph so that we can use some ear memory. Then we'll look again at the graph. And then after that, I'll analyze for you Enif Intizarak in its entirety. Okay. 1, 4. I'm sometimes going to use numbers. I'm sometimes going to say Yalil. Yanin, yanin. Yanin, yanin. 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 We came down 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 in Rust, 4, 3, 2, 1 in Hijaz in that last melody. And I started on 7, 8, typical starting point in Maqam Hijaz. Ya Naini, Ya Naini, Ya Nain, Ya Nain. And there, I started on Underneath the octave tonic 8, we went up to Hijaz on the octave Hijaz, and then I converted it to Hijaz car. Yadin. Repeat that one. Yadin. Or if I do it in Hijaz on the octave. Yadin. Yanin, 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 I'm really feeling this rust. That was Bayati on the octave. Bayati 8, 4, 1, 8. Bayati and Hijaz switch with each other very quickly, especially when we have rust there. Yanin, yanin, that was Nahawand. Yanin, 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 yanin. Coming down, Nahawan to Hijaz. Yanin, 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 Nahawand. Yanin, 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 that was rust. Yanin, yanin, Nikris Hijaz. Yanin, yanin, So we were in Hijaz car. We came down Nikris. Then I jumped up to 7 and I gave us a little bit of Nahawan Murasa. Hijaz. Yadini, yanini, yaini. Now you might notice I'm stopping on this note a lot suddenly. Does this note feel resolved to you, or does it feel unresolved? Does it feel better if I do this? Can you hear this resolution? 5, 4, before 4 resolves down 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that melody again. I want you to hear the instability in the note that we called 5, that wants to go down to 4. Yanin, 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 yanin. We can call this melody Hosseini because Hosseini is the 5th scale degree above Bayati when it's in its traditional scale position on D. Now, we're playing Hijaz on A rather than on D today. So if we transposed, sorry if this is complicated, if we transposed up to Hijaz on D, this 5th scale degree would be A. And that note is called Hosseini in the traditional Arabic Turkish scale system. And the Maqam called Hosseini, the jins that I call Hosseini, is an unresolved 5th scale degree that resolves down to 4 in either Nahawand or Rust. Here we were in Nahawand. Repeat that. Resolving to Nahawand on 4. We can do it in Rust. You hear the 5, 4 with Rust, Hosseini, Rust, Hosseini, Nahawand, Hijaz. Yadini, yanini, 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 Now you'll hear again, we did this 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, 5. Many people would call that Hijaz on 5. I don't. I hear that as again, consistent with everything else in this maqam. 5 resolving down to 4. This is Nikriz on 4. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6. 5 is unstable, wants to resolve. 6, 5, 4. Can you hear that? So that's why I don't call this Hijaz, although many other musicians would, just because of the shape of it. To me, that you ignore the structure of Nikriz that includes suspended on the 2nd scale degree. This is common in every jins, where you might end melodies on the 2nd scale degree as a way of creating tension. And that's exactly what's happening. There's tension in this note. Yanin, that resolves. We're going to hear that in the last verse of Enif Intizarik when we get to it in a few minutes. Yanin, 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 Nikri, sorry, Hijaz, Kar, Nikriz, Hijaz. Ya, Nini, ya, Nini, ya, Nini. And that is what we call Hijaz Murassa. Ya, Nini, ya, 3, 4, 5. You hear the flat 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, Nain, let me actually do some more and I'll show you the graph. I'll kind of sing along and we'll repeat melodies and I'll just kind of use my finger to show you where we are on the graph, okay? Ya nin, ya nin, ya nin. Ya nin, ya nin, ya nin. Ya nin, ya nin. Ya nin, ya nin. Ya nin. Ya nin. Yanin. Nahawan, Rust, Hijaz. Yanini, yanini, yanini. Up in rust. Yanini, yanini, yanini. Ya, 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 lil. Ya, ya, lil. I want you to feel that there's a drama in the difference between rust and nahawand, as opposed to yanin, nahawand, hijaz. Rust. Ya, 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 lini, ya, lin. Let's do that whole phrase. Ya, 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 lini, ya, lin. Ya, nin. Nikriz. Ya. Oh, I'm already compelled by Anafid Tazarak. يا ريتني عمري ما حبيت. يا 5 4 3 2 1 حجاز مراسا. يا نيني يا نين يا نيني يا نين. يا نيني يا نين يا نيني يا نين. As soon as you get to that raised 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, we move to Hijaz car. Yanin, 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 yanin. Yanin. See how I switched several ajnas in that phrase. I'm kind of just going on what I'm feeling at this moment, having reviewed a number of mawawil and songs in Hijaz over the last week. I always like to practice before I record one of these lessons, just to get myself in the mood. Hijaz from Egypt, Hijaz from Syria, and follow where my ear is taking me. Because this graph is what is in my brain. This graph is what is in the brain of every musician who has experience. They're not thinking about it in these terms necessarily. But that possibility of going to Nikriz, Rust, Nahawand, alternating back and forth so quickly, and then eventually resolving Yanin, back to Hijaz. Let me do something like that. Yanin. Yanin, 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 yanin. There I went straight from Rust to the Hijaz Murasa. Any number of ways to go among these maqamat. And finally, I'm going to show you one more little thing. Oh, look at there on the bottom of the graph. There's bayati that can substitute for Hijaz. Ya ning ning ya. Ya ning ning ya. Ya lini. Ya nin. So we went Rust 4, bayati, back to Hijaz. Yanin, yanin. Let me do that again. Yanin, 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 yanin. So there's an infinite number of ways, right? This is the important lesson here when looking at the graph is finite, limited number of boxes, limited number of ajnas within what is called Maqam Hijaz. There are a few more options than this, but not really. As soon as you go away from this central stuff, you're moving to a different maqam. But you can stay in all of these boxes. Look how many boxes there are. And stay in Maqam Hijaz. And although there's a limited, finite fixed number of boxes, you can follow any of these pathways and create an infinite number of sequences. It works just like spoken language. There's a finite number of words you know stored in your brain, a finite number of Ajnas musicians store in their brain, and you can recombine them, move around in a whole bunch of different ways. So I am going to illustrate for you with the song Intizarek, one of the most popular songs in Maqam Hijaz, from Kulthum, one of her most popular, most favorite songs. There's a lot of versions. I'll try to put links down below to some of her different versions. My favorite one is from 1955. She invents a whole new melody while improvising in the third verse, and the orchestra follows her. It's really incredible if you want to listen to the 1955 performance of Intizarek. The most famous performance is one, I believe, from the 1940s that people listen to. It's about a half hour long. The 1955 one is about an hour long. So there's a lot of room to improvise, but I'm going to give you a short version and just go through the Ajnas. So you can see how everything here is used in that one song in a short span. I'm going to make sure I'm good in the right key. Yani dun 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 5 dun 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 5 4 dun 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 dun. This is an instrumental intro. Dun 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 dun. Up in Rust. Da 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 dum 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 da da dum. So see how the intro uses that little simple complex, a little Nahawan, a little Rust. Now, of course, sometimes it goes up in Nahawan, not in Rust. But Ma'alish, musicians have a little variation, and even Kulthum's orchestra varies that phrase. Okay? أنا في انتظارك خليت نهواند نهوان أنا في انتظارك خليت ناري في ضلوعي وحطيت إيدي على خدي وعديت حجاز بالثانية غيابك ولا جيت راست نهوان أنا في انتظارك خليت ناري في ضلوعي وحطيت ايدي على خدي نهواند حجاز راست يا ريت يا ريت يا ريت يا ريت. Great phrase in Rust. Rust, 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 rust. يا ريت نكريز يا ريتني عمري ما حبيت. Yeah, flat 5 da 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 da. You see how we got the Hijaz Murasa there. Second verse. عايز أعرف 5 لا تكون غضبان. عايز أعرف 5, 6, 7. You hear the raised 7 for Nakriz. عايز أعرف 5. You hear how it's unstable. لا تكون غضبان. This is why. This is not Hijaz on 5. This is Nakriz on 4, not Hijaz on 5. عايز أعرف لا تكون غضبان. Resolution. عايز أعرف لا تكون غضبان أو شاغل قلبك إنسان خليتني من يأسي أقول. You hear the flat 6, 7, 6, 5. الغيبة دي غيبة على طول خليتني من يأسي أقول الغيبة. Great Nahawan, Nahawan, Nahawan. Nikriz, Nikriz. Nahawan, 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 Nahawan. خليتني من يأسي أقول الغيبة دي غيبة على طول وتفكر فكر. You hear the 4, 5, 6 rust. وتفكر ايه اللي جنيت من ذنبي سيئك ما لقيت. Coming down in Bayati. Rust Bayati. Back to rust. Yarit, 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 yarit. Nikriz, nikriz. Hijaz murassa. Mahabbit. I added that little variation there to come back in Hijaz. Third verse. The famous one that she improvises on. I'm not going to do that. أتقلب على جمر النار 4, 6. Let me make sure I stayed in key. Oh, okay, pretty good. أتقلب 4, 6. Rust, 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 rust. على جمر النار 5. You see the unstable 5 resolving down to 4 for the rust tonic. أتقلب على جمر النار على جمر النار واتشرد ويا الأفكار. So you can spend a lot of time in that rust. And in fact, sometimes she goes, yeah, Lainey, that 6 can become a Sika tonic. I haven't put that on the graph. If you spend time there, Sabah Fakri does the same thing in أدك المياس. أنا وحبيبي في جنينة 6, 4, 5, 6. أنا. And Kulthum in the 1955 recording of Anna Fintazarik does what sharad ويا الأفكار ويا الأفكار ويا الأفكار ويا الأفكار ويا الأفكار. She's going Hijaz down in rust, but tonicizing that 6, which becomes a Sika tonic. So listen for that melody when she sings it. And you can hear how she spontaneously composes it. The orchestra sort of follows her because it's a sequence. The audience is like, oh my God, that's amazing. You just composed a new melody. So then she's like, oh, they like this. I'm going to repeat it. Then the orchestra repeats it. And then suddenly, over the course of 20 minutes, she comes back to that sequence a bunch of times. 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 6. أتقلب على جمر النار على جمر النار واتشرد ويا الأفكار. النسمة. You hear that drama when we get to Nahawand? In this 4, 5, 6, as opposed to 4, 5, 6. Can you sing with me? 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6. And if you want to practice this switch between Rust and Nahawand, that is common not only in Maqam Hijaz, but also Maqam Bayati, also Maqam Kurd, that we're going to get to in a few more lessons. It's such a common alteration. Even in Maqam Rust, you can switch. This is a great verse to practice because you can practice et elib in nisma. And I think I might have made that in the lesson comparing those two ajnas. In nisma ahsibaha lughak wal hamsa ahsibaha quta. In nisma ahsibaha lughak wal hamsa ahsibaha qutak. على كده أسبح. You hear the rust? على كده أسبحت ومسيت وشافوني وقالوا اتكنيت. يا ريت 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 يا ريتني عمري ما حبيت. Now the fourth verse starts in Hijaz Kar. dum 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 da da dum, back down to Nakriz. Sorry, Hijaz car. Hijaz. My finger was bad there. Apologies. Hijaz car. Now, admittedly, it doesn't go, the composed melody doesn't go really 8, 9, 8. It doesn't go 8, 9, 10, 9, 8. But when you hear Kulthum improvise, she's going to go Tiwaidni. Very clear Hijaz car. So, توعدني بسنين ويام وتجيني بحجاج وكلام توعدني نكريز 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 Hijaz توعدني that's that 5 unstable bisninu em. Some people would call that Hijaz on 5. It is not. You're wrong. This is actually a big point of contention in Arabic music theory. You can see my position. Bisninu em. That note is unstable 5, wanting to resolve down to 4 so that we can move up to rust. توعدني بسنين وأيام وتجيني بحجاج وكلام توعدني بسنين وأيام وتجيني. There's the resolution to 4. بحجاج وكلام توعدني. Right, I'm gonna improvise بسنين ويام Hijaz car يالين يالين توعدني بسنين ويام وتجيني بحجاج وكلام توعدني بسنين ويام وتجيني بحجاج وكلام وتسلم وتمر أوام أو تخلف وتقولي نسيت راست 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 وتقولي نسيت يا ريت يا ريت. Oh, sorry. Still rust. يا ريت يا ريت يا ريت يا ريت يا ريت يا ريت يا ريتني عمري ما حبيت. So there you have Enif Intizarek in Maqam Hijaz. I hope you enjoyed it. Go back, study all those ajnas. Please support me on Patreon. The link is below. Please subscribe. Please like. Please share these lessons with anyone you think is in need of more Arabic music pedagogy. Please buy my book, Inside Arabic Music, even though I don't make any money from it. It's still a great book, and kudos to Johnny Faraj for initiating the project. Check out Maqam Hijaz, Jins Hijaz on Maqam World. There's also more song samples that you can find on Maqam World. It's a great resource for you. I also have a website, Maqam Lessons. Feel free to check that out. And I hope you spend some time just getting into the world of Maqam Hijaz and dwelling on those melodies. Thank you very much for your time today. Enjoy. Bye-bye.